Hello there. The further I go, the more mysterious life becomes. Everywhere you look are people talking, but they don't know anything. In fact, intelligence is very rare. It wouldn't matter what you were intelligent at. It wouldn't matter at all. It could be anything. But it is rare. Intelligence means it comes from me. What I create comes from me. But that's not what human beings do. They have mastered the art of copying. And that's what they're all doing. The whole world is busy. People are busy, they're struggling. They have so many woes, so many complaints, life's so hard. But none of it comes from them. It is terrifying to take the risk to be yourself against this world, and then hard, very hard to develop that myself, to mature that myself. Most people do not manage it, and they reach the end of the river before they begin. It's very hard. You see, the strangest thing is that there actually is a path, and it actually can be explained, but it is very rare to find anybody intelligent on this planet. All the words, the talk and talk and talk, all the books, all the scientists. What value do any of them have if they're all copied? As Gurdjieff says, there are just not enough conscious, awake people around with which to make a comparison, or from whom to take an example of how to be. It's even hard to find somebody to use as a model. Well, use Gurdjieff, of course, that's a very good way. Use Gurdjieff. But then Gurdjieff was a master of many disciplines. He could crack rocks with a sledgehammer. Can you do that? Because that is what the work is. That is what the work is. How many people are doing that? How many? You see these Gurdjieff Zoom meetings. On Twitter there are countless Gurdjieff channels all posting one-liners from In Search of the Miraculous. The work? That's not the work. That's nothing. There's just more nothing. Come out from amongst them, St. Paul says. Come out from amongst them. The Gurdjieff did not give out knowledge easily, you know. Well, why does life not give easily? Gurdjieff was just being just like life. It is important to keep the upper levels of existence clean from people who are not worth it. That first story in Beelzebub's Tales about King Apollus shows what happens, the disaster that happens if you give people things that they do not merit. If people merit something, they don't really need to be given anything anyway. That's the strange thing. Because life itself is doing a very nice job. If you are worthy, you will be given, and more added unto you. Who will give it to you? Existence. It will materialize out of thin air. Isn't that quite strange? Life is already a meritocracy, you see, so there's nobody to complain to, but Gurdjieff has tried to indicate to you what you would have to do. you would have to become powerful and capable and competent in all those things that are around you. Those small things. If I am doing a small thing with my hands, but I do it to the absolute best love and ability that I can, separating into my functions, paying careful attention as I clean the bath, but yet I treat it like cleaning a throne. I do everything to make everything about my work beautiful. And the bath shines. Afterwards it shines. But because I can see further than most people, I recognize that not only does it shine, but it shimmers from the inside, because I have added something to it. Because life is not material, and if there is love coming out of the pores of your palms, then anything you touch shimmers. It actually shimmers. Because things are alive, you see. Where is the magic? You have to put the magic into everything that you touch, speak, and everything that you breathe. I had this strange thing happen to me. Somebody I know was very polite to me, and as they were being polite, I recognized they hated me. It was emanating around the side of the shield of politeness. I could just feel it, that there was a hatred in it. They were saying those words that you say when you want to be polite, but there was hatred rounding the side of it. And people have all sorts of hidden traits, and it is them that need to be opened up. That is you. Your polite bullshit face is simply your death. You should not use it, and try to be more real. To be real is to learn about oneself. Now this story is about Gurdjieff. Once upon a time, Gurdjieff was on a train with a journalist, and that journalist made this record of their encounter in a carriage. My fellow traveller kept to himself also. He was a Persian or Tartar, a silent man in a valuable astrakhan cap. He had a French novel under his arm. He was drinking tea, carefully placing the glass to cool on the small windowsill table. He occasionally looked with the utmost contempt at the bustle and noise of those extraordinary gesticulating people, and they on their part glanced at him, so it seemed to me, with great attention, if not respectful awe. What interested me most was that he seemed to be of the same southern oriental type as the rest of the group of speculators, a flock of vultures flying somewhere into Agrionian space in order to tear some carrion or other. He was swarthy with jet-black eyes and a moustache like Selim Khan. Why does he so avoid and despise his own flesh and blood? But to my good fortune, he began to speak to me. "They worry themselves a great deal," he said, his face motionless and sallow, in which the black eyes, polite as in the Oriental, were faintly smiling. He was silent and then continued. "Yes, in Russia at present there is a great deal of business out of which a clever man could make a lot of money." And after another silence he explained, "After all, it is the war. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. In his tone, which was cold and calm, I seemed to detect a kind of fatalistic and ruthless boasting which verged on cynicism, and I asked him somewhat bluntly, "And you?" "What?" he asked me back. "Do not you also want this?" He answered with an indefinite and slightly ironical gesture. It seemed to me that he had not heard or not understood, and I repeated, "Don't you make profits too?" He smiled particularly quietly and said with gravity, "We always make a profit. It does not refer to us, war or no war. It is all the same to us. We always make a profit." She of course meant esoteric work, the collecting of knowledge and the collecting of people. And this section comes from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. "That which goeth into the storehouse must come forth, and the things that are thine must be shared with a friend. Knowledge is regarded by the fool as ignorance, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death, it is therefore his food. The wise man lets his heart overflow, but keeps silent his mouth. O man, listen to the voice of wisdom, listen to the voice of light. Mysteries there are in the cosmos, that unveiled fill the world with their light. Let he who would be free from the bonds of darkness first divine the material from the immaterial, the fire from the earth. For know ye that as earth descends to earth, so also fire ascends unto fire, and becomes one with fire. He who knows the fire that is within himself shall ascend until the eternal fire dwell in it eternally. Fire, the inner fire, is the most potent of all force, for it overcometh all things, and penetrates to all things of the earth. I went camping on the weekend, and I had a few thoughts. One was going back to Gurdjieff's statement that every octave will devolute back down to the do, unless it reaches the next highest do. That's very important. The do is stable, but everything else in between is not stable. Why is a do stable? The reason is because it is a cross. Because it unifies the ascending and descending currents. And that unification creates a stable point. And you can see yet another, and perhaps the most important, meaning of the crucifix. Another thing that I was reflecting over was a statement by U.G. Krishnamurti that there is no mind, or that he does not accept this mind that people talk about. Sometimes he would say to visitors after a frustrating conversation, he would say, "Well, what is it that you really want? What is it that you want?" It was a very interesting statement, because when you really pushed people, they couldn't exactly say what they wanted. It was like that they were walking into his apartment instinctively, or the legs would carry the body there, but the head could not explain what it wanted. Because the head that is in control of the mouth does not really know. Because the mind is really a fragmented and chaotic mess in human beings. As I have described, human beings really should function from the animal mind in the torso. What is upstairs may be slowly developing, but it is currently a fucking mess. That is why science occasionally does something good, but most of the time creates a fucking mess. According to law, you make what you are.